Welcome to A Slice of Tech. This is Thomas on the left and Nathan on the right, and they're going to debate which one of their phones is better than the other one.
Mine,
Spoilers, it's
obviously.
Samsung.
Nathan is the Apple guy, and
Hi.
Thomas is the
The
other
wrong guy.
The other guy.
The
There's
Samsung
bias
guy.
from our cameraman. Let's make sure that we realize that. He has an iPhone.
Okay, well, you know your roles, and we're going to jump right into this. Now, the first one and the big one, and I think it's the most important one, is how user-friendly would you say your device is?
Who's
Nathan.
going to take that first?
I'll let you go first.
I feel like the thing that Apple's always strived for with developing iOS is simplicity. It's one of the phones that's universal. It's one that I don't want to say it's an old person's phone, but I would recommend it to old people that that are trying to go to a smartphone or something like that. It's one of the most simplistic ones, and it takes a PhD. It's just push here, dummy, and it takes you back to the home page where you're not lost anymore. The simplicity of just the one button and everything. So it's rather user friendly, and just, I don't know, when you use iOS, you don't feel lost in it. All your apps are there on the home page. There's not hidden menus within menus within menus. I mean, maybe in the settings menu, but that's about it. So, but it's really self-explanatory, especially if you're familiar with technology. It's easy to navigate around.
All right, that's a good point. How about you, Thomas?
You said old person's phone, and all I could think of was Granny Smith apples. Apple. Yeah, I love apples.
Well, mine's a Granny Smith apple because of the green. I have a green case on my MacBook.
I'll admit to the simplicity that you get from an Apple device, from an iPhone, because, like you said, nothing's really hidden. Everything is just a swipe away, basically. That being said, when you say ease of use, ease of use to who? Because to me, there's something as oversimplicity. If you put everything on the front screen, but then you have to go into 1,000 apps just to change something, then I don't like that. The thing that I like about Android is that
Well, the apps have settings within themselves.
yes, but the thing that I like about Android is that you have the settings menu where you can change all the settings for multiple things. Like, it actually has notifications that you don't just have to change them in the app, you can change them in the actual Android settings.
Well, you can do that in Apple as well.
As far as simplicity, okay, for somebody who's just picking up a phone that's never used one, I will give you the point of simplicity there. I will actually give him that one. Simplicity does work towards iPhone in this case.
Not saying Samsung's hard to use. Whatever you call it. Android, I've had Android in the past. You definitely learn how to use it, and it's not hard to use once you learn it. But as far as first picking one up, I definitely feel... I mean, we could agree to disagree.
I like how we started
Yeah.
brutally towards each other, and now we're like, we're best friends.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, we are friends.
let's move on to the next one.
All right.
Okay, the next factor in a phone to get one is price. You can't buy... Not everybody can afford $1,000. Not everybody wants to spend $1,000 on a phone. What kind of price range do you have for, size versus price and what have you?
It's actually about
They're
even.
pretty much
Yeah.
even.
Honestly, cell phones are too expensive right now either way. They're
Yeah.
overpriced.
Yeah, so...
Like,
Well, they agree on that point.
it's a terrible debate right now.
Yeah. Okay, this one might be a little bit more heavier on one end. Variety. How many models of the same phone, I guess, is there
Now,
for each?
okay, so originally, for context, we were originally going to stick this not just Apple versus Android, because obviously there's a slew of Android devices on the market. We're going to keep this to Samsung. I can still kind of work with that, though, with Samsung.
Samsung doesn't just make the Galaxy.
Right. Samsung makes a variety of different phones that you can get with Android OS on it. And if you like the customization that you get from Android, it's nice to be able to not have to spend $800 on a phone just to be able to, get that functionality. Obviously, it's not going to be as fast. It's not going to be as shiny. But overall, you have the ability to come in at a lower price point. The other option is even the Galaxy series. I don't know if they still make them, but at one time they made a Galaxy. It was a sporty edition of the Galaxies. They made it all the way up to the S4. I think they may have made an S5 and S6, and they were rugged versions. They had rubber buttons and everything. They were physical buttons, and the idea was that way it was a rugged phone. Like they natively had like the IP68 or 67, whichever the one that they came with, water resistance, which really only came about with the S5. My S4 has little water resistance. The S5, they tried to make it so water resistant that the actual USB port actually has a cover over the S5.
Well, yes, Samsung does have a little bit more variety and has some lower price phones, but at the end of the day, you're going to be spending a lot on a phone regardless. And one of the things that I feel like Apple takes pride in is they don't defile their name by releasing cheap, crappy phones, like comparatively to...
Ooh, shots fired.
Yeah. I mean, I had one of the cheap, crappy Samsungs. That was my first experience with Android. The Android operating system and everything. It was one of the Samsungs that had the slide-out keyboard and everything. It was right there before probably like your iPhone 4S kind of came out, because that's what I transitioned to after that. And I only had that phone maybe about a year. I liked it, but it was just really buggy and everything. And I'll admit, Androids came a long way over the years, especially with the Galaxy series. But there for a while, it just seemed like, as far as just solid operating and everything and smoothly operating, there wasn't nearly as many hitches in iOS, which I think is part of their simplicity approach to it. Is they don't have as many like bells and whistles per se, so that way you have a smooth operating phone experience. You know, like you might have a better bells and whistles experience with a Samsung and everything. But I know it's off topic. Sorry, but
no, actually, quick note. I want to actually point out something that I do agree with you is that even with Galaxy is Samsung's flagship line. The Galaxy is not necessarily always a good phone. The S series is their flagship. But my first Android phone was the Galaxy Centura, which is like an $80 phone.
Mine wasn't even a Galaxy when I got it.
Yeah, mine was actually still the Galaxy line, but it was called the Centura. It was terrible. It's a good first touchscreen phone if you want to get into touchscreen or Android, but it was so underpowered and the screen was tiny. It was just...
But I feel like Samsung has almost done in the comparison of what... One thing I believe is Windows, to an extent, like this is getting a little off topic, but to support my tangent, is Windows has, they made their operating system accessible to more people, but like your cheap like HPs and Dells and stuff like that ruins HPs and Dell's name to an extent. Like you'll get like an HP 2000 running Windows 8 with 2 gigs of RAM and a horrible processor.
So you're saying that Apple's trying to stick strictly to quality.
Yes.
Like they're not making a cheaper tier because...
Yeah. And that's when you buy an Apple product, you expect a certain amount of quality and you're going to get it when you buy it, you know?
Right, like the Apple Scrapbook, which was a $300 book with pictures of Steve Jobs in it.
But one thing, you do have some, but as far as variety, you do have a couple models though with that iPhone. You got your iPhone 7 and everything. You got the Plus, which Samsung doesn't have that size of a phone right now, so...
No, they're getting ready.
There's no Note 7.
Not with the Note.
There was no 7th generation. I know they're going to make another one with the S8.
Will have an extended screen version, though.
Oh, yeah, I know, but they don't have one this year, and some people needed new phones this year.
Some people want their phones to blow up. It makes it very easy to cook whatever's in your pocket.
Or your head if you're falling asleep watching YouTube videos. If you're falling asleep watching this, if you have an iPhone, you have the comfort of knowing that it's not going to blow up on your face while you're trying to sleep.
But we can hope. Oh, that's dark. Oh, that's dark right there.
Okay, then. Enough on that. We don't need to know who blows who up. I mean, we got all that in the news.
Yeah.
Now,
Samsung stock is just blowing up all over the place.
I think. Oh my god.
It's bad when you have to do an ad campaign talking about your battery testing. I'm sorry.
Okay, you want to go batteries. Who seems to have the better battery life?
Apple has always had the better
Nope.
battery life
Nope.
over Samsung.
Nope.
No,
I will
it has.
completely disagree with that. I will completely disagree with that. And the reason I will is because think about this. Okay, yes. The Apple iPhone gives you. Okay. Let's say that I went out and bought a brand new iPhone and a brand new Galaxy S7 today, okay? All right. The battery in the Samsung is a bigger capacity battery.
But it has so much like it. They
If you are doing okay, granted, Samsung and Android in general has a lot of bloatware running in the background, and that does eat up your battery life.
so it doesn't.
But the actual battery quality, though, if you were to have the same workload on an iPhone, it would actually drain quicker because of that lower battery. They have still not
But
upgraded.
nobody cares about the
They
quality of the
still-
battery. They
Yeah,
care about the
size
battery
of
life.
No, the size of the battery. The size of the battery, which directly correlates to the quality of the battery. Okay.
See, Apple with their A10 chip or A10 Fusion chip that they have in the iPhone 7 actually has two really high. It's a quad core. It has two really high performance cores, and then they have two like cores that actually for your menial trivial tasks like your just basic phone stuff. Those take care of that so that you're not using as much battery life. Therefore, they don't have to put as crazy of a battery inside of it. And you have better battery life because you have a smart processor not going full force all the time. You know,
One issue though is, and this is brand new news that just popped up this past week, I believe, or the week before. Okay, so Apple is ditching its GPU manufacturer, Imagination Graphics. Okay, Imagination, half of their profits every year were based on Apple buying their GPUs to put in their phones and iPads and laptops. Okay, now they're gone because they're deciding to make their own in-house ones. Why are they doing that? Because when you do spec for spec, if you're a mobile gamer, you take an iPhone game and an Android game, both top of the line phones, the iPhone will perform slightly worse because the Imagination GPUs cannot compete with the ones built into the Samsung phones.
I have benchmarks where the iPhone 7 outperforms the S7. We have stats where the iPhone 7, I don't know what benchmarks these are, but Ice Storm Unlimited, it was a test. The iPhone,
That's
That's a
fire
3D mark.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
a 3D mark test.
so it scored rather, let's see, your S7 scored slightly under 30,000 and your iPhone 7 almost scored 40,000.
The entire reason they dropped the Imagination brand was because their GPUs were not powerful enough. That is the official statement.
Okay. It doesn't mean they're not more powerful than
They're not.
the S7.
They're not.
Well,
Because at the same time,
benchmarks don't lie.
Android is running everything else. The Apple devices are not running all the other stuff that the Androids run at the same time. Apple devices do not do a lot of simultaneous tasks at the same time. When you're finished with that item, a lot of times it closes it out. Android keeps it running in the background. Now you can argue that that's
That's
a
a
bad
dumb thing.
You could argue
You're draining
that.
your battery life.
Yes, but if you need that thing right on the fly at that moment, it's there.
Well,
It's running in the background.
guess what? The iPhone keeps stuff running in the background. I can double click my home button and have multiple apps running at the same time.
How many at a time?
A lot.
Like
as
how-
many, pretty
how
much as many as you want.
But in the same state that they were. Because all it's doing is it's just saving it in the cache so that you can go back and pull up that app, but it's not actually keeping the app open.
It keeps it open. I can multitask going back and forth between my apps.
Over how many, though? Eventually, it shuts some
I
of
mean,
them
how
down.
many apps do you need running at a time on a phone?
Depends if you're the type of person. It depends if you're the type of person who is really heavily into your phone to the point where it is like a second computer.
Okay, now.
And like I said, simplicity.
Okay,
You're
next question, guys. You're talking a lot. Nathan was talking. You both were kind of talking about who needs this many apps and stuff. Well, who's the target? Who is the target consumer for your devices?
Your average consumer, really. I mean,
for
mean,
either
that'd be
side.
smart, right?
For
Yeah.
either side, it's the average consumer. But I would say that Apple has always been aimed more towards the artistic people
and
It's,
professionals,
yeah.
like,
I will disagree with that on professionals because a lot of people like the ability because there's a lot of apps that are not in the App Store that you can get on Android on Google Play and third-party markets. See, with Apple, you have to go through.
And you have the opposite at the same time, where you
Yes, but there's a lot of them that you cannot get through Apple because Apple only lets you get what's on the Apple Store.
Oh, I see what you're talking
yeah,
about.
you can actually use third-party stores like Amazon has an app store. You can
Yeah.
use the Amazon App Store. So if you have special apps that you want on Android, then you can get them through that. Now, yes, that's obviously special use case, but again, they're both really meant for the same consumer, honestly.
Yeah.
If you want more customization, Android gives you that. If you want more simplicity, that's ease of use. Back to the first question, go with iPhone.
This is the target audience is somebody that wants a top of the line smartphone, and they want a new one every year, because every improvement every year is rather marginal for both companies.
Yep.
Okay. Let's see. Let's roll on over to a question about longevity. How often would you need to upgrade your phone to be able to stay top of the line? I know a lot of things they phase out older models. Most recently, Microsoft they phased out XP and Vista. How long before your device will not update to the newest form of the operating system?
I know currently right now the iPhone, you can still get some apps still on the 4, but most of your main popular apps you are now locked out to the 4S.
It's roughly about the same for Android side. I know the S4 is what I'm using, and as long as you have the current OS, which I think with the S4 you're only able to get up to 6.0. I could be wrong on that though. I think the S3 still supported. I think, but I'm not 100% positive on that one. So it'd be about the same generation, honestly.
Yeah, it's one of those things, and I don't even know if the 4S can run iOS 10, but it can at least update to like 9, where you can still run all the apps you need. Like, because I know I work in a store. I work at a pawn shop. We sell phones there. I sold a iPhone 4, and it was to somebody for their kid. Well, Snapchat won't update if you can't get to iOS 9, I believe, and I think the 4 would only go to iOS 8. So
it also kind of comes down to whoever your carrier is, because a good example of this is Straight Talk. Certain phones, certain older ones that you bought, whatever the in the box revision of this firmware was, if it was Android 4.4, you're stuck at that because Android the way that Android works is that your mobile carrier has to port it out to your phone, and all the other major companies do it. Straight Talk doesn't, and I think it has something to do with compatibility issues with their network. But for the most part, most phones will go up to whatever they're able to go up to based on the hardware side. So,
okay.
And for people that are have older phones, it's not if you can still run all your apps on the later or on the earlier operating systems. It's best to try and actually stay to those earlier operating systems, because I'm sure it's the same with Samsung. It starts killing your phone trying to run the latest, greatest operating system.
now, when you say longevity, do you mean durability as well, or just?
Well, we can go on to a question about durability. How strong would your phone be against scrapes and scratches and even dropping it and breaking it?
iPhone wins on this.
Do they use Gorilla Glass?
No, they use Sapphire Crystal, which is the second strongest transparent. They went past I think they had the Ion X glass, which is probably the same thing as the Gorilla Glass. They started with the iPhone 6 using all of them with a Sapphire Crystal screen, which I have really noticed a difference. Like, there's a lot when I first got my iPhone 6 originally, I was like, oh crap, my phone's broken. Pick it up, oh, it's fine. It's crazy how much they can take a drop. It's one of the things that I've noticed too, like reading up on the S7, that was dumb in my opinion. On the iPhone 5, Apple finally went to a metal back on their phone, or went, I guess, maybe back to a metal back, I don't know, or plastic, depending on if you get the 5C or something like that. But the glass back wasn't a good idea, because if you dropped it, that's another side to shatter, and it just doesn't look good, The S7 actually has a glass back as well, which is not a good idea. Apple tried it, and you have all these busted back screens. I was reading in a review too, where a lot of people are saying the S7 definitely breaks a whole lot easier than like your Apple screens. So Apple has really done good with their display as far as the strength of it with their sapphire crystal.
Okay. So at the moment, I don't believe that Android has definitely experimented with the sapphire crystal glass, but they've not actually implemented it yet. As far as I know, we're still using Gorilla Glass or some type of derivative of Gorilla Glass. But I will tell you, I'm going to tell you a quick little story real quick, and I will bring it in one day to let you guys see it because I sent a message to Samsung about it, and they were amazed about it. And this should show you longevity, if not about the phones, at least about the tablets. I left my Galaxy Tab 7-inch on the hood of my car, and I'm going down the highway, and I'm going fast enough that the wind picks it up and throws it over the windshield and off the back of the car. And I didn't know what it was at first. I thought, what was that? Did I just hit something? So I get to where I'm going. I get out. I was like, where's my tablet at? Where's my tablet? Where's it at? It's like, oh, God. And it hit me. It's like, I left it on the hood of the car. Oh, God. So I turn around.
You're going to have good longevity if you don't leave your phone or tablet on the hood of a car.
I turned around, went back, I put on my
Regardless.
blinkers, and went down the road where it fell off. It fell off in front of the high school, actually. And I found it sitting on the pavement, face down, mind you. Okay? When it fell off of my car, the corner of the tablet hit the pavement like this. I thought the thing was dead. But the first thing I noticed, the screen was 100% uncracked. I went out, picked it up, and it wouldn't turn on at first. I held the power button, did a hard reset of it. It turned right back on. There is a scuff mark and a small indentation on the corner where it looks like somebody took a small grinder and grinded it down where it ended up getting some road rash. That tablet still works good as the first day I got it.
That was sheer luck. That wasn't longevity.
It hit the pavement and the sidewalk and survived without a broken screen or anything busted inside.
Well, it's one of those things with a phone. One of the things you're going to run into is multiple drops. A lot of people have problems of multiple drops. You got lucky on a major drop.
That's not even a drop. It's 55 miles an hour.
So it's one of those things. The facts don't lie when people are definitely having a lot more like cracks from their drops on S7s with the glass.
Yeah.
I mean, we can agree that sapphire crystal is a lot more durable than glass for the fact that it's the second most durable, transparent, whatever you call it, component, I guess. I don't know, next to diamonds. The only way they can make them stronger is that they made diamond screens, and you thought phones were expensive now.
Like, we're now releasing the iPhone 5K. 5K resolution and 5K cost.
Hey, that might be the iPhone Pro this year.
Wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah.
Okay, let's
Diamond crystal screen.
let's wrap this thing up. Do you have any extra closing remarks that you want to add?
I can change my battery out.
We have stereo speakers that sound amazing.
We have stereo speakers.
No, you don't.
Yes, we do.
Yeah, I do.
On other Android phones.
Yeah.
Storage on the phones. You can't change out the storage on the Apple phones.
Yeah, you can't change that either.
Hey, that's cheating. You got help.
I was thinking of,
It's-
yeah, you can't change out storage. Okay, I believe there was actually a Galaxy that was made somewhere in there where you couldn't change SD cards out as well. Don't quote me on that. I think it was actually a top-of-the-line Galaxy. They tried to do the whole iPhone thing of, if you need 64 gigs of storage, buy the 64 gig version. You can't buy you can't put an SD card in it, and you can't change the battery.
Okay. They make good batteries in the first place and sell them with plenty of storage in the first place.
No, they don't. No,
Yeah, they
don't.
do.
No, they don't.
Dude, this is 128 gigs. How am I going to fill up 128 gigs?
They make
And one thing
128.
they do now with iCloud optimizes your storage.
A lot of people don't like using cloud storage, though. I know that it's the future.
And also,
Everyone's
we
using
developed
cloud storage.
and
But
most everything
a
is
lot-
the future. With
A lot of
cloud
people
storage.
don't like doing it though because you have
Apple was ahead of their time.
yes, but okay. This is okay. So viruses used to the reason that people liked Apple was because you couldn't get a virus. Well, no, you couldn't get a virus. Nobody developed viruses for them. Samsung and Apple phones, the mobile phone market has seen viruses in the past. The Heartbleed virus from a couple years back infected millions of phones, and it did affect both Apple and Samsung. So, whereas they used to would have gotten that edge, nobody gets that edge anymore. And it's like
They still get more so of that edge though.
I want to add one thing to the virus.
Mhm.
On my iPhone, I go to like the worst websites in the world, and I have yet to see a virus at all.
I go to the worst websites on my computer. I've yet to see a virus on my computer. I don't ever get viruses on my computer.
I don't either. That's weird.
I'm gonna go
Knock
home
on
tonight.
wood.
I'm gonna go home and get a Trojan horse tonight. Yep.
Well, a lot of viruses come from bad torrents as well. So
Yeah. I don't ever torrent anything anymore. It's like because
Don't download stuff off the
It's
internet.
not even the ethics
See,
of the
hey,
torrent.
hey,
It's
and then you're more at risk of getting those kind of viruses from bad downloads on Androids because Android allows you to download crap from third-party sources. Apple
yeah, but when
actually
I said
clears
that,
their
though, I was
stuff up.
meaning more like
Yeah,
the
no.
Apple, the
Yeah.
Amazon App Store.
Yeah, but
So-
you can download apps straight off the
Oh,
internet.
yeah. And
though.
that's why you actually have to hit a little thing in the settings menu that says you allow third-party apps.
Yeah.
But talking about that though, I forgot where I was going with that actually. So
All right, to wrap it up, really, as you can see, they're both great phones. There's two types of people.
admittedly, his phone's better because mine's an S4 and his is a new. So I mean,
Well, no, but I mean, I'm throwing out comparisons to the S7. I'm not comparing to your phone. I'm comparing 7 to S7. And whenever I'm talking about in any of my points, really, it's just one of those things. You're gonna have a good phone experience either way. It's really just one of the personal preference. You know, there's two types of people. You have Samsung people and Apple people. People like iOS, other people like Android. So we should just all get along.
You got Samsung people and you got people that are wrong.
Exactly.
You
No.
sicken you sicken me.
Why? No, we're not gonna get along. We never will. We're always gonna say mine's better than yours. It's like the console war. Yeah, you have Xbox versus PlayStation. PC is better.
Okay, before we get on to that,
This was about phones.
That'll be
I-
for the.
okay.
That's for the next debate.
We cleared off the table. Why did we keep the sound card on the table?
'cause you
so
like
they
that.
can hear us.
Oh.
Can you hear me now?
Okay,
Good.
thanks for stopping by, guys. This has been a debate on the Slice of Tech, and if you want to see these two go at it some more, tell us what you want them to go at it about in the comments.
And let us
Leave
know
a
who
like,
won.
subscribe, stay tuned for more.
Next time we'll use fisticuffs.
Yeah, they might break out in a fight.
No, we'll do it like Rocky style. It's like, and then you come at me on the butt. I'm like, it's like, all right.
And-
But let us know in the comments who won.
Yeah.
See you later, guys. Thanks.
Bye.